Hello. Welcome back, guys, to our ADHD discussions and quick topics that we do every Monday at noon. If you are new and you don't know who I am, my name is Gabriel. I own ADHD counseling in the Roanoke Valley, and I am the therapist there. Quick rundown, more about me. I have my master's in clinical mental health. I'm a resident in counseling. Soon to be testing to become a LPC, or a licensed practicing counselor, but I'm currently in my residency, and I have ADHD, which helps to make me a expert in Roanoke. Actually, one of the only experts on ADHD in Roanoke. So I'm happy to be doing this stuff for you guys and bringing you the latest and most accurate information that I can, so you guys have the best information or the most informed for you and your children. So let's jump in. Today we're going to be talking about unexplained underachievement, which is a term that I heard from Dr. Ned Hallowell, who wrote all the books on ADHD, all of the books that you've heard of. He probably had a hand in. It was a really interesting term because it's a topic, an issue that comes up a lot with the parents of my ADHD clients when they're telling me things like, my son is so smart, he makes good grades when he does the work, or he tests really well sometimes. When he does test and he really likes the class, he'll get a high A or 100% or whatever. But when he doesn't like the material, or just randomly, he'll just fail a test and we don't know why. But we know he's really smart. And then me, in talking with that client, I can tell that they're very articulate, they're very verbose, they can carry on a conversation that may be above their actual age. So if I have like a 10-year-old, they're talking to me as if they were 13, 14 years old. So they're very intelligent, but that is not reflected in their grades and the things that they're doing. So with that, he kind of coined this term unexplained underachievement, where we know that they are capable of a lot more, but they're just not able to showcase that, or they are not showcasing that intelligence per the standards of the school or the situation that they are in, which, to take us down a different conversation, we can talk about the standards of school. If you are one of my clients, or you've watched these before, you know that I like Albert Einstein's quote of, if you judge every animal by how well they climb a tree, you'll be disappointed by the fish. And more often than not, that's sort of where this unexplained underachievement can come from, is we are putting these ADHDers into a position where they have a very small chance of success because they are that fish being graded on how well they're climbing the tree, when all the other kids in the class may be monkeys. And it's like, all right, cool, this is easy, this is done, and the fish is kind of flopping around, kind of wondering why I'm even here, which probably is a story, or at least an internal monologue your ADHDer is telling themselves, why am I even here? I don't like this is boring, everyone else is doing really well, I'm not. And then sort of that spiral, or that shift of thinking kind of comes into place, which goes back and informs that unexplained underachievement. If I'm not doing well, then I must be stupid, or I must not be intelligent, or I just can't do it. And then that kind of is a vicious cycle of unexplained underachievement. But as parents, I hear, but he's so smart, or he's so smart, he's so smart. And I distinctly remember having a conversation. I distinctly remember my mother and a tutor that I had in elementary school talking about me, and my mom being frustrated with, he's so smart, and the tutor agreeing with her is, yes, he is so smart, and kind of hearing this I had that tutor for years, from probably third grade until sixth or seventh grade. I don't remember. I have to ask my mom. So for a long time, like every once a week, if not twice a week, for like 3 years. So I needed that because it was just, I was the fish. But anyways, hearing that over and over and over again, he's so smart, he's so smart, he's so smart. The thought did pop in my head at some point, I don't remember when, but the thought popped in my head of, this is just what you tell children, is you're so smart, you can do it, because why would you tell a child anything else? So fast forward to when I opened my practice, I had a college age kid come to the practice to see me, and having those conversations with the parents. I stopped the session and I asked the client, everyone's saying you're so smart, you're so smart. Is that something that you think people just are supposed to tell kids and supposed to tell college students? And it's something that you've said or you've heard through your whole life. Is that something that you think we just tell, kind of like the Easter Bunny's real and Santa Claus is real and the Tooth Fairy's real? But you're so smart. That's just kind of one of those things. And she said, yes, that was the story that she had framed in her head, that you just tell children that, you're so smart. You can do it. You're so smart. And so for that client, the story of I'm just not smart because I'm not climbing the tree or testing to the standards of school was informing that story of I'm not smart. And because you're telling me I'm smart, because you've always said this and I've never seen it through the grades that I get, that I must not be so smart. So unfortunately, we have to stay ahead of that with our underachievers and help them test or showcase their intelligence that we know that they have, but that may not be, that's stifled or at least not showcased in school. So with that, does anyone have any questions about unexplained underachievement? Does anyone want me to elaborate on anything in regards to that topic? Or does anyone have any questions just about anything ADHD related? I'll wait. I think next week my folks are going to be in town for Thanksgiving. That may be a good thing to talk about with for our ADHDers is what the schedule for Thanksgiving is going to be, because sometimes that can cause anxiety, especially if we know what's going on, or we don't know what's going on, or some sort of structure. It's just informing them of, this is what the day is going to look like. This is when we're doing this. This is when we're doing this. This is what we're eating, so that they know what's coming up, and so there's not any kind of anxiety, and so they can set their own expectations of, I can go do this for this amount of time, or with these cousins, or with these friends, with these family members, but at this time I know that this is going to happen. And yes, they will forget, and they will get caught up in whatever it is they're doing, and completely forget that that's what you told them to do. But if you do have an ADHDer who has some anxiety, which sort of comes with the territory, I think as a general rule of thumb, I tell most of my ADHDers that it's almost like at some point you're either going to be very anxious or very depressed, and that just kind of comes with the territory. So if you do have one of those ADHDers that is anxious, and with Thanksgiving coming up, make sure you review, or at least kind of include them in the plans. Not that they have a say, but just, this is what we're doing. We're eating at this time. We're going over to, this family member's house at this time, and this is what we're going to do, and these are the expectations. That way they can quell any kind of anxiety in their head that may form because they're anxious. So any questions about that, ask. What I was going to say was, I think I may see if my folks are interested in coming on this Facebook Live for your questions about what it was like raising me, because I do have ADHD, and like I said, I struggled in school. I had a tutor that I met with, like once or twice a week for like 3 years, struggled all through grade school. College was okay. Doing the things that I like to do, like philosophy and psychology. Psychology was super easy for me. And then in graduate school, it was cake. I thought, learning about being a therapist was the easiest thing I've ever learned how to do. It just came really naturally. So I liked it. But it may either temper some of your expectations, or at least help frame what your child's life could be like. Or, if they're young, if they are 3, 4, 5 years old, listening to my parents talk about the trials and tribulations with me, and kind of seeing that, well, maybe it will work out in the end if we can just weather this and learn how best to help him grow or her grow, then things can turn out really, really good in the end. So hopefully maybe they'll be here for all those questions, because I like to think that I think the worry that a lot of parents have is, what's going to happen when I'm not here? What's going to happen when I don't wake them up for school or work or whatever? And I guess part of my mission as even starting the ADHD counseling in the Roanoke Valley was to showcase that it's not all doom and gloom. It can be amazing and it can be great. There are hard times. There are times where I walk into rooms and I'm like, I don't know why I'm here. I have yet to be late for a Facebook Live, but it will happen. I'll just get doing something and it'll be 12:30. So bring your questions for them, and hopefully they'll be able to kind of go over their experiences and probably normalize what your experience parenting is. And they can say, yeah, we did that exact same thing. And, Gabriel did that exact same thing. And they had less information than you guys do. There was not anyone like me giving any kind of information out at all. So you're better off, and you guys have better resources, and I'm sure they can help you at least normalize those feelings, because I know it can be hard. So with that being said, if you guys have any questions about today's episode, or you need me to clarify anything, or you just have any kind of question at all, ADHD related or not, be sure to comment below. I'll get to it in the comment section. I'll tag you, or I'll save it for next week's Q&A, and hopefully I'll get some better advertising out about trying to get parents involved a little bit more next week, so they can kind of pick my parents' brains about, like, what did you do this, and hopefully they'll have some good insights. So that's all I got for you guys. If you need anything, have any questions, or need resources or whatever, feel free to shoot me a message, email, call, or comment below. All right, guys, we'll talk to you again next week.